bat demo. Okay, when we make all of our projects on the wheel, I would like us to use a thing called a plaster bat because it absorbs moisture. It's also something that when we try to lift our project off the wheel, we can distort it if we don't have a tray or a bat, this is what we call a bat, underneath it. So it's much easier with this. At first it's difficult to learn how to throw with a bat, but once you learn how to, I think you'll find that this is probably one of the best methods. The simple way of doing that is we take our bat and we want to keep it fairly dry. We don't want it totally clean because it needs to absorb moisture. Think of it as a sponge. Okay? If it's a sponge, then how does a sponge operate? When they're really dry, if we add a little moisture, that kind of jump starts the sponge to start soaking up really well. Okay, as we keep adding moisture to the sponge, eventually we get too much moisture, it's overloaded, and it's full. Think of this as being a sponge. So basically we're going to use one that's fairly dry, but we're going to start it with a little bit of moisture, and we're also going to put a lot of moisture down here on the wheel, a big puddle of it, just like that. Don't be stingy with your water. Then we're going to come in and we're going to set it on here, and we're going to move it back and forth. Try to pre-center it as close as possible, but it's not necessary that it's on center. It'll be pretty close, and as it sits there, it absorbs, develops a vacuum in here, and sits right on there. Don't just turn your wheel on real fast because you'll probably take a bath there. So we want to come in here, and one of my things is also we come into the top and we're going to clean this off. Make sure that it's fairly clean and we don't have a bumpy surface on top of your bath. We're going to add a little moisture underneath, just like that. It goes in and underneath there, helps adhere to it, gives it a good section. There we go. Our bat's all nice on there. We're ready for our first project. End of.